You can hear me? Good. All right. So how's everyone doing? Good. You're doing good? Wonderful. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to move now into the second portion of our evening. Before I get started, I just want to remind you to use your cell phones. Use your cell phones to capture these moments of the poets being up here so we can spread the word. I also want to remind everyone to, if you haven't had a chance to bid on any items, hopefully you've had an opportunity to do that. There's a couple of items that still need to have a bid, which is the feng shui. It's a service that creates balance in your house. It's a 1-hour session. And I believe it's the cake supplies. So I just wanted to put that out there if anyone wanted to bid on those two items. All right, well now we're going to move into round 2 of our poetry for the evening. I don't know about you, but I'm really excited. It's always real exciting to hear other poets share their poetry because everyone has a different message, has a different voice, and it's always just truly inspiring. So once again, I'm going to kick off this round of poetry by sharing a poem titled Women Rising. I see women rising like the warm buttermilk biscuits my grandmama used to make. Like the golden sun as it rises from the east, shining on my dark ebony face. Like children as they awaken eagerly and enthusiastically for gifts on a cold winter day. Rising hungry, heart pounding, feet stomping, voices screaming, arms hugging. As they get lost in the midst of something much greater than themselves. I see women rising, who are no longer bound by their self-limiting thoughts, fears, and insecurities, who are making a difference within and beyond their thriving and impoverished communities, who are taking a stand to embrace the light and gifts from within, living beyond the world's expectations and the boxes they put them in, fighting for every width and depth of their dreams, creating holes in that box to make fit for a queen. I see women rising, echoing the sentiments and bravery of their ancestors, standing on the shoulders of those who came before them as they paved the way for their successors, wanting more out of life and all things it has in store, yet trying to do better than the generations before, overcoming struggles and obstacles, knocking down doors, unwilling to compromise their truths to be so much more. I see women rising like the redwoods and the giant sequoias of the ever-commanding presence of the Yosemite, standing strong with presence, with power and authority, as if to say, I am somebody. Somebody worthy of their existence, worthy of the magnitude of their capabilities, despite the dream haters who resisted, despite the violent and unforgiving storms of life that may blow their way, testing the strength of their backbone, fighting for survival day to day. Oh, I see women rising, stepping out on faith and letting their voices and courageous actions be known, digging deep within themselves to go places they've never gone, rising above and beyond the glass ceilings that may plague their dreams, reaching as if they are going to the mountaintops of the Himalayas, despite how grand or insurmountable it may seem. Women, I have faith in you, in all that you do. Stand in your power, in spite the path that you choose. You are women rising. Yes, women rising. I get so inspired and so inspired
and I say that poem, recite that poem, because we as women are in a new place today. We are doing things that we have never done before. We are graduating in record numbers than ever before. We are entering political positions like never before. So women are doing so many things to where we are stepping outside of our comfort zones, and we are letting people see us for who we really are. Each and every one of you have something inside of you. And every day you have an opportunity to let that thing that's inside of you to come out so that you can show up and be the true, authentic you. But unfortunately, there's some of you who are still sitting, some of you are still waiting, and that fire that's within you is starting to flicker and burn out. And some of you just need that motivation, that inspiration, that reminder to remind you of who you are and what it is that you are capable of. So my goal is, and I'm sure Ivy would agree with me, that the person that you were when you came in here today, and I'm not just talking about the women, I'm also talking about the men, that the person that you were when you came in here today should not be the person. You should not be the same person when you leave here, right? You should not be the same person. You should be inspired to want to go out and to do bigger and better things, right? Minnesota is known so much more for ya betcha, right? We have a spirit of giving. And I know good and well there are people in this room who are eager, who are destined to make a change. And that's why you came out here tonight. Guess what? You are destined to make a change. I'm sorry, when I get inspired, I just have to let it out. Right? I just have to let it out. Because I know that everyone in this room, if we pull together collectively, we are capable of doing great things. And I don't know about you, but right now, watching the news, it really takes me away from me operating from the highest part of my being. I don't know about you. You ever watch the news sometimes, you're just like, oh my God, really? Are we really stooping that low? Right? Are we really stooping that low?
Watching Trump tweeting.
Watching Trump tweeting. But this is just a reminder to take your power back. Take your power back. You get to choose who you want to be. You get to choose who you want to show up to be today, right? You have that power. Don't lose it. Embrace it. Own it. I'm sorry, I love what I do. I'm excited. Tonight's a great night. We're all here. And all the poets are amazing tonight. And we're going to keep the ball rolling. So with that being said, all right, who's my next poet? My next poet is, it's going to be Cameron. Where's Cameron? Come on up, Cameron.
Hold that for a second.
Sure.
I want to move this table.
I'll give you the mic.
Thank
There you go. You're
So I wrote this one for this event, and so ashamedly I'm going to hand it over to my man. Just a little safety net here. This one's called Differences. Think of the happiest person you know. Do they live life fast, or do they take life slow? Do they live in the past, or do they watch the future grow? Are they beautiful? And did that help you choose? I doubt it did, and if so, sorry, you lose. I'll bet you chose someone who knows what they want. Then they worked hard to get it and chose not to flaunt. For to brag of your joy means that you are not as you say. If you want happiness for acceptance, then you've gone the wrong way. If you want approval for loving yourself, then your own goal you betray. And if you want anything before loving yourself, then your mind is in disarray. So know yourself. If you want to love life, and do not change your mind of who you are due to strife. And if you can do all this, then I'm sure there's something you've learned. You're not the lucky one either, for this knowledge you've earned. This fact is so easy yet hard for some to understand. But you cannot hold someone's true feelings as illegal contraband, for anyone true knows why they hold where they stand, and I refuse to make labels and mark humans with brands. Our differences make us who we are. We're all equal in this. There is no bizarre. So if you want the right to love yourself and set free your soul from the jar, then you also have to grant the world this right and accept people for who they are. Now this is the point where I realized that I'm supposed to introduce the next poet. So we'll make up for the last time here. I'm going to be introducing Mary Weigel. She's active in the art community. I just got to sit down and talk with her. She seems like a lovely lady. She brought her twin sister here. She always brags about being older by 3 months. And she wrestles bears on the weekends, and her words have stopped 2 international wars. So let me give a round of applause for Mary Weigel.
I'm going to move the table back.
Awesome, sure, shoot.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Thanks again for letting me be your crowd, too. So before I get started with my next piece, I just kind of want to share with you guys an experience that I had a couple of months ago. So I had the opportunity to go see a play called For Colored Girls Who Have Considered Suicide When the End Is Enough. And this was written by Shindig. And so this piece was incredibly moving because it was a group of women of color all sharing their experiences about life and heartache and joy and pain. And all of these women were just surrounding each other with so much love and comfort and community. And at the end of this piece, all of the women went around and they said a statement which I want you guys to keep in mind as I share my piece with you. The statement says, "I found God in myself, and I loved her. I loved her fiercely." This piece is called The Tale of a Girl Who Never Saw Herself. I was a young, brown-eyed girl trying to make sense of the world. At age 6, kindergarten, is when I remember seeing color. I mean, noticing that I'm a brown-eyed girl in a home, a neighborhood, a city, a school, where I didn't see others who looked like me. The few that did, I was afraid of. Why? Because as a child, you pick up on the fear of other people, and you learn to see what is good and what is bad. And so in my world, white is good and black is bad. It's as if one day I woke up and I was granted the curse of knowledge. I didn't even eat the forbidden fruit, but I awoke with all of this knowledge of what was good and what was evil. I saw myself as bad, and I would never say that out loud. Even as I say that now, I'm trembling with the insecurity as I try to tear down these walls of shame that I have. And as a child, the only way I knew out was prayer. Now, like most kiddos my age, I only prayed for when I wanted something. I prayed for candy. I prayed for a sibling as an only child. I prayed for all lighthearted things that all little kids, little girls should hope for. Now, my prayers took a dramatic shift at age 6. And I started praying that God would make me white. I remember saying a prayer before bed and then waking up the next morning
and making my way to the mirror with my head down, hoping that God had answered my prayer, the prayer that I thought wouldn't be that complicated for God to answer. I remember looking up and opening my eyes and looking in the mirror and feeling disappointed and confused because I was still the same girl that I had went to bed as the night before. I wanted to blend in. I didn't want to be that black sheep because that wasn't going to get me anywhere. And so all I could do is just question why. Why am I the one that has to be different? Why am I the one that has to go through this? I don't want it. But for whatever reason, it is mine. You see, at age 6, it's hard to conceptualize the nature of being an outsider by default. There's no way for you to prepare for that kind of burden. You shouldn't have to. I shouldn't have had to. The discrepancies between my classmates and myself felt indicative. So I did what I could to blend in. Straighten my hair, speak proper, dodge stereotypes, hold rap music, nod and smile, flee from anger, avoid them, desensitize, ignore, withdraw, joke about my race, and deny the utter existence of my blackness. Be like them. Be white. Now don't tell me that you don't see color. It's right here. I'm right here. Full of brown-eyed, brown girl beauty. I was created to exist in this skin. I was created to be me. Now I'm going to spend the rest of my life trying to heal from the stark reality of internalized oppression that I faced. The shame that still silences me as I try to keep moving forward. Now how I wish it would go away, but it follows me. It lingers behind me wherever I go, reminding me that I'm different. And I learned that those who do look like me are criminals, gangbangers, drug lords, dangerous, deserving of death, inhumane. False. False narratives created to terrorize, isolate, and separate from humanity. But whose humanity? Those who look like me? I am within them, and they in me. God, I wish I could talk to her. Let me talk to her. Let me show her that the beauty is in herself. Take me back to find the brown-eyed brown girl whose prayers started at the bus stop and carried through the night, only to repeat the next day. The girl who never saw herself. The girl who trembled at the existence of her kinky hair and curvaceous figure. She's been looking in the mirror the whole time, and still she can't see what's in front of her. It's right there looking back at her. The beauty within. Through the globs of detangled hair in the brush, and the cocoa butter to moisturize her sensitive skin, and the endless streams of oil in her scalp, and her dark melanin that glistens in the sun. Truth be told, through these words, I've been afraid. Afraid to embrace my brown, and afraid to embrace who I am. I hear God say I can't go back. I couldn't say it before, but I can say it now. The words that have been buried under the rubble of conformity. The dirt is shifting and the wind of God is blowing over me. I can see it now. I can tell her of her worth right now. I found God in myself, and I loved her. I loved her fiercely. May you find God in yourself, and may you love her. May you love her fiercely. Thank you. I don't have much to say besides thank you, everyone. So the next person I am introducing, he brought his fire with the next poem. He's going to be bringing some more. Earlier when I asked him to describe himself in 3 words, he said, just really angsty. So that's what I'll leave you with. Anthony Wallace, come on up here and show us what you got.
Okay, so just so you guys know, this is like the last call for silent auctions. So if you want to get a bid in on anything, I would go to the back and do that right now. So the piece that I'm going to be doing next is called Monsters. It's the age-old prophecy of a prince smothered in layers of silver armor, hiding the sweat and trembling limbs beneath, bestowed a great sword for a fiery conquest, to be the savior for a humble village, to rid them of the fear of a dragon fluffing the clouds above, of a haunting so filling, the scent of terror squeaks through the streets. In all the pageantry of fantasy, we cling to a single truth, that a single night, bearing no more than wit and gumption, may rid us of that which we fear most. These stories are implausible, certainly irrational, but immaculate. Perfect because the spirit of hope can never rest within something greater than our own hands, or we all risk losing the power we never had. For centuries, the white knight sufficed. This buffed and blue-eyed Hercules stepped forward to smite dragons, to picket for freedom, and to wage war. Yet, in the corners of reality, there are some villages the whitest of knights dare not wander to. Villages where the spark of hellfire radiates far warmer than a furnace, where a woman wallows in a new distress beyond a dragon's eye, churning the stomach more than the burning of the dragon's infernal breath. The darkest corners, cloaked in the brightest of days, with villains the whitest of nights, can never slay. Standing beneath the red, the white, and the blue, those shadows are cast down onto us. We are now the children, scared of the dark, running to the light, only to find that it doesn't shine quite so bright. We were all young, running from monsters who roam till the shine of the sun, to grow old and find new monsters, who now wait idle for the sun. And we all turn to hope, our heads spin, to see the white knight abandon some, leaving a world full of heroes none of us see ourselves in. None to fight the haze we cannot see through, push against, or rise above. The glass ceiling, the invisible hand, forbidden love. For beneath the weight of limit's burden, I, he, she, they, and we seek relief and belief that there is no limit to what she can be. No invisible hand suppressing me. A strong belief in new heroes and new hope to slay what lurks beyond the night. Enemies even the whitest of nights could never fight. So I'm kind of realizing now, after my intro, that I didn't do that great of a job asking questions. But one thing that I know about Lydia is that her favorite color is blue. So
Hello, thank you. The second poem that I'm going to be performing is called Aphrodite. God, she is so amazing. And I have shit to say for it. There are only so many poems, only so many songs and choruses I can write to try to explain it, but no combinations of words to create a rhyme will suffice my constant effort to find the phrase for The correct amount of syllables to fit in the haiku, and God, it's almost clinical. My efforts to create a poem so critical that it's almost biblical, but see, they all turn out so typical because you're all I can think about anymore. You become my pinnacle, my lyrical miracle, and so much so that it almost feels criminal. But damn, you are some pivotal pyramid. You never fail to leave me high-spirited, and I sit here amid the bigoted, the narrow-minded, and the limited, and wonder if they could stand up to hundreds upon hundreds of people every day just like this woman did. But honey, don't worry about that, my innocent lyricist, my glass pyramid. I am riveted by your willingness to be so kind-spirited. And I am always here for you. It is amazing the hold you have on my brain like some magnificent hypnotist. I just wanted to tell you, but I can never seem to find the words. Thank you. Okay, I once again didn't get the chance to meet this wonderful artist, but is Dr. Sharonda with us? No, not today. Okay, then I will introduce Emily. No. Oh, Lisa! Welcome, Lisa, to the stage.
A little too close there, honey. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Wow. I apologize, I wasn't here for the first half, so only sad for me because I can't share two poems. I only get to share one. Okay, so I have this coffee table picture book that's actually a poetry book, and I want to do like the children's book thing where you like show the picture to everybody, but I just invite you to take a look backstage, back there. But let me do this real quick. Sorry, since I didn't have a first half, I'm gonna. It's a photo of three women, myself and two of my dearest friends, and the names in this poem honor their grandmothers and great grandmothers. This poem is called Warrior Women. Gathering berries with her newborn strapped close to her chest, breathing in the fresh autumn air of the north woods, and feeling her baby's heartbeat in rhythm with her own. Off in the distance, she hears the beating of the ceremonial drums calling her name, raped by the new settler, disguised as a friend, violated, betrayed, and left behind. Stripped of her land where her heart lies buried deep